Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
And a happy Thorsday to all who celebrate. He is Thor Nystrom from Matthew Berry's FantasyLife.com and a blood member of the McCarthy family now. We'll get to that. The Vikings gave permission to the world. Hey, we can make this a real thing here. Of course, they did it strategically. Doogie gave us this nugget on the scoop. Like 3 days before Viking season ticket payments are due on Friday, I think this week, and a day before they did press conferences with free agents. Like, all right, let's clear this up right now. So we'll get to all of that and a really interesting wide receiver signing by the Vikings as well here. But a reminder that tickets to the 2025 Purple Daily Draft Party presented by Standard Heating and Air are now on sale at scorenorth.com/draft. We are getting real close to running out of VIP tickets. So if you want the VIP tickets, which include a meet and greet with the show, premium balcony seating, 2 drink vouchers, food voucher, a Purple Daily snapback hat, a big bear hug from the sports dad, go to scorenorth.com/draft and get those VIP tickets before they are gone. A thank you to Roku TV. We shouted out Standard Heating and Air Conditioning, 2 men in a junk truck, for helping to power this event as we build up to the 4th annual Purple Daily Draft Party. So it's going to be awesome. It's going to be a blast. We may even be able to pull Thor via satellite for like 5 minutes during him. I'm sure you guys are going to be live all night too. But welcome in. Happy Thorsday, sir.
Thanks a lot. Good to be here. The first one after the Vikings have come out ordaining JJ McCarthy. So it's really good to be here.
Puff of smoke finally came out. TCO, they finally put the papal puff of smoke out and said, JJ's our guy. This is it. We've got our quarterback.
It's purple smoke billowing from U.S. Bank Stadium.
It's a fine day. It is a fine day. And what I find amusing? How many stops and starts did it take us? Sam Darnold might be back. You guys don't get it. Sam Darnold might be back, which, by the way, now is folly because if Vikings really wanted Sam back, his contract is very doable. They just said no. Oh, okay. Now we moved on. Now it's JJ time. No. You don't understand. Aaron Rodgers is on line 2, 3, and 4. And so now we're going to have to wait. I just hope this is it now. I really do. Because I am, and I know that this goes for you in triplicate, but I am really looking forward to seeing what this kid can do with this team. Because this team, this offseason, Thorsday, has been so good. Like, they've done everything right. And the only thing is, give JJ McCarthy his chance. It looks like he's going to get it, and it looks like all of the nonsense that surrounded it is finally gone.
He will get it. The story never changed. And what the team was putting out there, and then all the transactions that they made, it was screaming to you, JJ McCarthy is QB1. Like, that nothing ever changed with it. And to your point, it was like, oh, it's Sam, now it's Aaron Rodgers, and then like that gets put to bed. Well, then the Justin Herbert thing pops up, and there was a Tua thing in there somewhere too of the Dolphins they were trying to get any quarterback here that wasn't JJ McCarthy, but the plan has always been the plan. The predetermined outcome has always been the predetermined outcome. There's a lot of nonsense out there because national reporters will put something out, and then this fan base, which has been traumatized over years, is just waiting to have a winner, waiting to have a franchise quarterback. They're, every single shiny object they were grabbing at, and you can sort of understand that. What I thought was disappointing was that the reporting out there, even from credible reporters, it felt like there was a deliberate lack of context that was meant to sort of incite the reaction that it got. I don't think that was truthful, that aspect of it, the obfuscation of the context that would have fleshed out the whole thing. Yeah,
I think it has felt like a lot of outside forces that are really interested in being a part of what the Vikings are doing offensively. Like, it makes sense that Aaron Rodgers would want to get out of New York and that cesspool of an organization and the defensive-minded head coach that got fired and get over here to his buddy Kevin O'Connell. Like, of course that makes sense. And also, just like per the reporting, I absolutely believe that the Vikings, doing their due diligence, had some internal meetings. Like, yeah, I mean, hey, KOC just talked to Aaron Rodgers on the phone for an hour or whatever it was. You'd be foolish not to run that through a filter internally. But they digested all of it over the course of a few weeks and decided, as they announced through national reporters on Monday, that JJ McCarthy is the guy. And I think, Thor, at this point, we talked with Doogie earlier today. People can find the scoop session that we did for Reckless Speculation Thursday. There are weird parallels between Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre, like 20-year parallels that are just sort of 15 years apart. And the only thing that I think could change this path is if something similar to 15 years ago happens, which is, now the Vikings love McCarthy now more than that Vikings organization loved Tavares Jackson at the time, because they had already seen Tavares Jackson fail for like 2 years on the field. But they got to training camp, and the young quarterback, hey, this is your shot. You're going to compete with Sage Rosenfels, so you go beat him, and you can be the quarterback for a loaded roster. And they were both disasters in training camp. And 2 weeks into camp, the Vikings are like, all right, let's do it. Let's call Brett. He's available. If Aaron wanted to remain available until training camp, and if JJ was awful for some reason or had an injury, only then would this fire back up. But it is JJ McCarthy's organization and car to drive for the foreseeable future until something deviates from that path.
Respectfully, I don't think that's the right situation from the Vikings quarterback pass to evoke this to contextually. I think that would be Teddy Bridgewater in the trade for Sam Bradford. This is 1,000% tied to the need. This is an unprecedented situation where a team takes a top 10 quarterback who then misses their entire rookie season and then is going to be the starter the next season, right? Sight unseen for the public. The Vikings know that he doesn't stink. They know that he's not Tavares Jackson. If that was the case, they would have signed Sam Darnold, right? They had all kinds of mechanisms to do it, and they decided not to. The discussion about it, and why that I think that they would have put it off as long as possible is because if there is a setback in the future, why do you think they kept putting after the draft, and they keep pushing the thing because it's tied to them knowing that JJ McCarthy 100 is going to be 100% talking to the medical team. But everything we've gotten is that he is ahead of schedule on his rehab. So it would be something unexpected with an injury that would cause a change in thinking. That context was not included in any of those reports. It wasn't. It was proffered to the public as though they were chasing Aaron Rodgers to be their QB1. False. That was false, categorically false. So I thought that the reports were disingenuous from the get.
That's fair. Yeah, and look, this now, and the reporting that we were left with on Wednesday now is this. In my opinion, in sorting through, because there's so much crap here. Like the Darnold thing was so much crap. I actually think the Darnold thing was even worse because that was people trying to report exactly what the Vikings told them. And it's like, he's not coming back. Just use common sense. But the only thing left here now from the Rodgers camp and standpoint, because I don't think this is a Vikings thing, is if he does not sign with Pittsburgh like in the next week, that SOB is clearly going to wait and hope. He's going to hope that McCarthy fails. He's going to hope, which to me is a devious. It's a devious plan. At that point in time, I'm done. Like I wouldn't even take him then.
That SOB.
Well,
son of a.
But like he could sign tomorrow with the Steelers. Take your chances. I actually don't mind the Steelers. I think that's a pretty good team. I think that's a decent fit. The Giants are more dysfunctional. But this to me now is the Rodgers thing, and I mean it is to Phil's point though. The Favre parallel, Thor, is the manipulation that never ends. Well, I'll just wait here. I would not be surprised in the next month if Rodgers says, you know what, I'm done. I'm retiring. Mm-hmm. And then he doesn't file the paperwork and he sits back and hopes. Like that's the thing. But here's what I would tell O'Connell. Don't fall for this crap. That is not a good teammate. It's not a good locker room guy. And I do think that the Vikings are going to give McCarthy every chance. But if he gets hurt again or something transpires, I personally am done here. I would turn to somebody else before I went to a backstabbing planner like this. So I'm good. I'm out. It's over as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, they're not going to sign Aaron Rodgers to be the starter, because if they had any interest in that, they would have offered him a contract.
Right.
Even the people that were they're talking about it. Even they reported there was no contract offer made. What are we doing here? What are we talking about? This is a narrative that has been generated from Aaron Rodgers' side and continued going from Aaron Rodgers' side, right? You make a contract offer if you're interested, right? I mean, they had the 6th most cap space in the NFL. They have brought in 0 quarterbacks, and they have made just as many contract offers to Aaron Rodgers. Now, if I'm sitting in Kwesi's shoes, yeah, I mean, let's Aaron, if you want to wait for a couple months, if there is a setback, we'll call you. We would be interested in that scenario, but yeah, I mean, feel free to sign anywhere else in advance if that doesn't work for you.
Also, doesn't it make sense, regardless of who they bring in as a QB2, to wait until after the draft, so that if you're signing someone, now Rodgers got cut, so he wouldn't count toward the compensatory pick formula, but Flacco would,
yes,
and Jameis Winston would if you signed him. But if you wait till after the draft to sign any, let's say it's Flacco, you could tell Flacco right now. And by the way, there's a great, when the Vikings beat the Colts last year on, I think it was Sunday Night Football.
I was there.
There's a great video of Flacco with a big smile on his face after the game and hugging KOC, and they're just a couple of guys from the same draft class or whatever. So, like, let's say it's Flacco. Don't you tell him right now, hey, 100%, we're totally in on this, but like we want the two. We'll get to the comp pick conversation later in the show, but we don't want to screw up the comp pick formula that's on our side right now. So if you could just chill till like the first week in May, okay, let's talk then, right?
I love that you're bringing this part of it up, because you had the, in my opinion, disingenuous reporting, because it removed the context of what was actually occurring to frame it in this different way, and then you had the public being like, well, they haven't signed the quarterback, and isn't that odd? So it lines up, and so it was like they will be going after Rodgers. There's a whole bunch of other explanations for why they hadn't made the QB move, the QB2 move yet. You're bringing up one of them. If it's either Flacco or Winston, you need to wait until after the draft to do that, because then they're no longer involved in the comp pick formula. Why does that matter? Because right now you're sitting with a 3rd round pick and a 4th round comp pick next year, 2026. After the Cam Robinson signing, if you went out and you sign a qualifying offer, a qualifying free agent now, that crosses out the 4th rounder. So the discussion becomes, if you sign Joe Flacco or Jameis Winston prior to the draft, you are trading a 2026 round 4 pick in order to sign them to that contract. If you sign them after the draft, it's just the contract, right? I mean, so it makes all kinds of sense that you would wait in that scenario too. And then I don't want to start with this is one that brings a lot of attention too, but the Kirk Cousins thing, that is not going to be resolved yet. You had the $10 million roster bonus that the Falcons had to eat. They had to get past that. They had to decide, do we cut them in advance and just eat the whole thing? Or do we pay out that $10 million? And maybe another team will take some of the guaranteed money to offset some of this enormous cap hit that we would otherwise take if we release Kirk Cousins. That's another reason that you would wait, right? It wasn't all signs point to Aaron Rodgers ever.
Hold on,
right?
let's go down this Kirk path, because we've sniffed around this on a couple different shows this week.
This one was always more realistic than Rodgers, my opinion.
8 years ago, the Texans regretted the Brock Osweiler contract, and they were looking for a team with immediate cap space to absorb their mistake. And the Browns stepped up and said, hey, we've got cap space. We don't really want Brock Osweiler, but like we'll totally take his contract if you attach a 2nd round pick to it. And I wonder, if you're the Vikings, is that something? Now they do need to use some of this cap space to fill out. They're gonna sign some minimum contract because they have roster spots to fill out. But they also have a bunch of cap space. Could you facilitate a deal with the Falcons, take on some of that money from Kirk's salary? Kirk is fully on board with being a QB2 behind JJ McCarthy. and you make them kick in a second or a third round pick in the 2025 or 26 draft to take him off their hands.
Yeah, you typically see these trades more in the basketball draft where it's teams just straight up buy second round picks every single year. But yeah, I mean, that's you would be in this case, you would be using cap space to both buy your QB2 while potentially being compensated something in terms of draft equity, like you're mentioning. Now, this would come down to how much are you willing to eat, and I don't know what the value of eating cap space is, but like the Brock Osweiler, that's one of the few that we have had like that. So that will be interesting to see how they parse that. But that's a transaction I very much trust Kwesi to parse out. That's sort of what he does is the value and cost of assets. That's sort of the thing he's best at.
And one of the most important questions, in my opinion, that still exists that has not been answered, and it's not being drilled down upon a ton. We have discussed it though, is why are the Vikings leaving all of this cap space? And why would you make Bradbury a post June 1 cut? Like, it wasn't that it would have been very easy to make Bradbury a pure cut right now, not post date it. And you take a cap hit, but you got a ton of cap space. So like these guys ain't dumb. There is something going on here that they are thinking about. And the Kirk thing, like it or not, probably makes as much sense as anything to leave yourself extra cap space. And what do the 2025 right now Vikings desperately need? More draft assets, right? Like if they were flush with picks, I'd be like, they're not going to do this. They're not going to take Kirk back and blah. But O'Connell likes Kirk, and this team needs draft picks. And if you can get the Falcons, who, as Thor has pointed out, Terry Fontenot might be the biggest idiot in the league.
He's like the dumb fantasy owner that you hit up for a fleecing trade.
If he's going to give you a second or third round pick and you're getting Kirk and he, to Phil's point, agrees to be the backup and O'Connell likes him, which he does, it makes way more sense than people think, and it explains the extra cap space that's being left. And there's a reason why it's being left, and we do not know the answer to that right now.
Yeah, well, yeah, flexibility. Yeah, I mean, that's one possibility. There's also been, rumors of trading for players that might have bigger salaries that don't play the quarterback position. They're not done yet. They're certainly not done yet. My whole point is just the previous reporting led people to believe that cap space was 100% being retained in order to offer Aaron Rodgers the QB1 position. That was not true, right? So, yeah, I mean, like, we don't know yet what exactly that move is, but yeah, they're talking this through, and they have retained that flexibility for more moves going forward.
Mm-hmm.
So another highly important question here is if JJ McCarthy is going to progress through here and become QB1 and start the season here with a loaded roster, first time ever taking a snap in the regular season in the NFL, how good can the Vikings be immediately? I think there's a long-term discussion about it'd be great if he was the 10-year quarterback that this franchise has been looking for since Fran Tarkenton. But there's the micro question of they have a win-now roster. They're one of like 5 or 6 teams that can win the Super Bowl with the roster they have and the coaching they have. On the high end of the scale of evidence of guys who sat their first year who were highly drafted quarterbacks and then were thrown into the fire in their second year, I'll give you 3 examples of note. And Thor, you tell us how realistic it is based on your scouting and knowledge of McCarthy. Dante Culpepper in 2000 stepped right into an offensive system, great weapons, defense a little shaky, and that Vikings team won 11 games. They sputtered at the end of the season, but they went to the NFC Championship game. Patrick Mahomes won the MVP award after sitting basically the entire first season. Great infrastructure, weapons, defense, Andy Reid. And then a forgotten one because it's a different style, and he was a second-round pick. Colin Kaepernick was a second-round pick by the Niners who sat his first year, came on for an injured Alex Smith partway through his second year, and the Niners went to the Super Bowl with a first-year starter, Colin Kaepernick, driving a great car. That's the peak, I feel like. We have evidence of this happening in the last 20, 25 years in the NFL. So how good can the Vikings be first-year McCarthy?
That 49ers team, that was coached by Jim Harbaugh, right?
Yep, our guy Alex Boone was a starting guard on that team.
Yeah, Jim Harbaugh and his son with Seattle is one of the coordinators there, and they took Sam and JJ, both their boys, now as ascended. All the parallels in the NFL are always fun. It's like a Game of Thrones, It's like we go through Westeros with the whole thing. But yeah, like that. I think just in terms of parallels of the situation, I think that Dante and the Mahomes one are fair. Like the Mahomes one, it was like you sit the first year. Obviously, Mahomes was healthy, but then there was people and a decent amount of people that were like, "Chiefs, you guys are absolute morons. Andy Reid, you are an absolute idiot. You're going to trade an established starter in Alex Smith for this raw guy that we have barely seen and comes out of an air raid system and blah blah blah." And then, obviously Dante with the infrastructure and the same place and stuff like that. Point I want to make is I see people out there that are like, oh, I support JJ, but like, you have to keep in mind there's going to be growing pains. He might not be great in year one, but like this sort of pre-hedging. The expectation should be that JJ McCarthy is good next year. This is a Super Bowl contending roster, and he needs to be one of the top half of the league starters. That is my expectation. I'm not lowering expectation for the kid. They should be high, right? They should be high. You had the ability to bring back Sam Darnold, who won 14 games for you last year. You could have signed. Now he's washed up, but one of the great quarterbacks of all time. With he's got a fork sticking out of his back, but still he wanted to come here. You turned down all these other alternate possibilities to start JJ McCarthy. I have sky high expectations, but I think that again, the expectation for the public should be we get top half of the league quarterback play next season. I don't think we need to put the bar on the ground for this. The Vikings expect him to be good. I expect him to be good, and I think he will be good.
He's a top 10 pick. He's a top 10 pick. He should be good. He should be good. And look, what we saw before he got hurt, including the preseason game, but more importantly, in my opinion, in training camp, everything screamed he's got an it factor.
Yep.
It's been a long time since I've seen a Viking QB draft pick. In fact, I probably have never seen one draft pick quarterback who's got an it factor. So like the Vikings didn't accidentally take McCarthy. This is not like they are building a roster in part because of his contract, but they are building a Super Bowl roster. I would think with him in mind, not like it feels like there's a perception of, oh my God, they accidentally built this really good team. What are they going to do at quarterback now? That's not how top 10 picks work. Like, the thing is, I don't blame fans, but this franchise originated in 1961, Thor. And until JJ McCarthy was taken, Dante Culpepper was the highest quarterback they drafted at 11, okay? So the rules of engagement, the rules of the game have changed here. So I don't think it's unfair to say this team is being built in part because JJ McCarthy, the confidence in TCO is he can lead this team. You didn't just accidentally get done with the free agency period and say, oh my God, look at this roster. Oh my God, it's too good. What are we going to do at quarterback? There's an intent here. An intent.
Yeah, as I wrote on Twitter, the front office isn't being run by capricious children. And I think Kwesi, I think he sits back and laughs at all this stuff of like KOC too. Why didn't you people, we've told you. We have told you what the plan is. We have never lied publicly the past couple years. And then this offseason, every single move, just take a look. Like when the Herbert rumors started, it was like, you can't have guaranteed out the future contract salaries that they did with the signings that they've already made, and then take on a huge long-term contract at quarterback. You'd be torching your books going forward. All these moves were made with the idea that JJ McCarthy is the starter next year. And all the comments that have been made publicly from the Vikings have also pointed you in that direction. Like Kwesi and O'Connell must be like, what else do we have to say? Like what else do we got to say here?
Yeah, it's been a while, a few months, but I think we're all ready to watch JJ McCarthy drive this car. We'll get to some other stuff, including Thor's thoughts on Rondale Moore and a mock draft simulation here. But Judd, let's shout out MSP Plumbing, Heating, and Air here, if we could.
We absolutely can, because guess what? When we're talking about trust, when we're talking about quality of service, when we're talking about a company, people, friends who sports dad will let in his house to fix things, MSP Plumbing, Heating and Air is near the top of my list. I've been talking for some time now about the work that they did a couple of weeks back. Absolutely fantastic. And also, let's talk about opportunity. Fratelloni's Hardware and Garden Stores have proudly partnered with MSP for the Big Green Egg Giveaway. Get $60 off any HVAC or plumbing repair, and you will be entered for a chance to win. The green egg from Fratelloni's has a $1,000 value. We're talking about two great family-owned companies in Fratelloni's and MSP, both of them outstanding, both of them dedicated to making sure that you are satisfied. And for MSP, just give them a call, 651-615-4292, or check out their website, callmsp.com. Callmsp.com. I'm going to tell you right now, you are going to be satisfied and glad that you did, and your home, most importantly, is going to be safe and sound.
We had a great Purple Daily gathering last week at Black Stack in St. Paul. Black Stack Brewing. You can find their beer all over the state of Minnesota. World-renowned craft beer, but available here from anywhere in Minnesota and also Wisconsin, Nebraska, South Dakota with their expanded distribution. During the season, you can find Black Stack inside the stadium while you're watching the Purple. I know in our fridge right now we have some local 755 New England IPA. We got a couple Slopes French Pilsners and a couple others in there. And if you were there last week, you saw why the tap room, which is the second largest tap room in the state of Minnesota, is one of the most fun tap rooms that you're going to find here in the Twin Cities. So find out more about what events are going on and what they are brewing at blackstackbrewing.com. That's blackstackbrewing.com. And also Park Dental powering Thorsday here today. So I've had 2 appointments now at Park Dental. Awesome experience. Really excited for them to be my long-term dentist now moving forward. I had a dentist for like 8 or 10 years. He retired. I was out in the wilderness without anyone to clean my teeth for far too long. And I finally met my match in Park Dental. 50 years caring for and cleaning teeth in Minnesota and Western Wisconsin. You can schedule your checkup and check out some of the wildly positive reviews all over the internet too, but schedule your checkup at parkdental.com. That's parkdental.com. All right. If you guys have any final thoughts on McCarthy here, feel free to fire him off. Otherwise, the Vikings signed Rondale Moore. Really interesting, classic buy low. He hurt his knee last year, second round pick. At one point, as a freshman at Purdue, he was the leading. He led the entire nation in receptions, in yards, and touchdowns. Ran a 4.3 40-yard dash at the combine. And if you go and watch his highlights on YouTube, you'll just see this joystick of a player. I'm wondering, Thor, if you go back and think about your evaluation of him a few years ago, and then now that he's a 5-year veteran in the league coming off an injury, I love the signing as a buy low guy. Curious what your thoughts are on Rondale Moore.
I was probably a little too high on Rondale Moore coming out. I look back at my rankings that year. I ranked him 35th, wide receiver 6 in that class. What was it? 2021, I think, when he came out. Yeah. I loved him. At Purdue, he was one of the funnest players in the nation to watch. And you mentioned it was right away. There was a game, is it his sophomore or junior season? He basically single-handedly beat Ohio State, where like Purdue didn't really have anything else, and it was Rondale Moore, and Ohio State could not stop him. And there was this enormous upset. I like I said, I love watching him, and I agree with you. I like the signing, and he can fit a role in the offense next year. I think he will. It's just, where was I wrong about Rondale Moore? And this is a lesson that I learned about evaluating receivers. It's why I'm not as high on Savion Williams this year in this coming draft class from TCU. Guys that can't create on their own without the ball before the pass has been thrown. You have to knock the receivers, right? The manufactured touch guys. You can't make the logical leap that at the NFL level, all of a sudden that will be unlocked. A part of the evaluation, you have to go with what you're being told, right? And with Rondale Moore, they manufactured all the touches for him around the line of scrimmage, and then he would go berserker. He's extremely fun with the ball in his hands. He's a little bullet. He's 5'7" or 5'8", 5'7", or a hair under 5'8". And he's well built for that size. He's muscular. And then the north-south, he becomes like a little bullet train kind of a guy, and he can make people miss. He can break tackles. But again, you have to manufacture those touches for him. In the NFL, the first year, he had the good PFF grade with the Cardinals, 59 receptions, 70 targets. So his PFF grade was over 70. But you look at the usage of those seasons, his rookie season in 2021 with the Cardinals, let's see, 37 of those catches came behind the line of scrimmage, 37 of 59. Then there was 18 of them were between 0 and 9 yards of the line of scrimmage. He had 2 that were 11 to 19, and then 2 beyond 20, right? So it's, again, you need to generate those looks for him. But on a team where you have the really good boundary receivers, as the Vikings do, arguably the best top 2 in the league in the aggregate, then you have TJ Hawkinson who can win down the seam and these sorts of things on the other side. That's what allows you to have a slot receiver who is a manufactured touch guy, right? Because you have created spacing for him. Rondale Moore needs that space to succeed. You're going to get it when Justin Jefferson is lining up immediately to your left. That's just what happens. They have to play 2 high safeties. It just is what it is. So you manufacture those touches to Rondale, watch him work. He's going to run. He's going to break tackles. He's going to generate yards for you. I like the signing. Last point I'll make about it. I think it was the last episode I had tossed out. Like, now we're in BPA land, and you can go all these different directions as opposed to having to zero in on this position or that position early in the NFL draft in April. I had tossed out the name Luther Burden. Rondale Moore is taking the thing that I was suggesting with Luther Burden. You no longer are drafting Luther Burden. His skill set would be superfluous to Rondale Moore. So I want to make that point lastly.
Are we potentially talking about really what would be the first, dare I use the word, gimmick player in KOC's arsenal? Like this sounds to me like the opportunity to get creative. And the one thing that has surprised me about Kevin's play calling is, they've tried some sort of trickery here and there. It hasn't worked for the most part. But if we're talking about getting a small guy, a small but shifty and quick guy like Moore, the ball behind the line of scrimmage, opportunities like that, I wonder if we are on the potential precipice of seeing some of the bag from KO's play calling that we have not seen yet.
Yeah, it's, I always think I like pass catching cores as a basketball team, and like the starting 5 of a basketball team. And you want to have guys who have complementary skill sets, right, to play everybody up, even above what they'd be with their individual parts. And with Justin Jefferson, you essentially have one of the greatest small forwards in NFL history, right? It's like a Kevin Durant, right? So you have him there. We can consider Hawkinson as like the center. What we consider, I'm trying to think what we'd make Addison in this comparison. But the whole point being, Rondale Moore would be like a 3-and-D shooting guard, right? He's just camp in the corner, and when the rest of the defense is responding so much to the other guys, when Justin drives I'm not good with basketball, I'm ruining this metaphor, but when he goes in and the defense gets sucked to him, and then you're just there in the corner by yourself, that's where you're going to get your points, man. You have that skill set. And that's the other player, it's the responding to the defense, but that's how he'll succeed, and that's what he is.
I want to launch a new podcast where it's just Thor turning everyday things into basketball metaphors.
The Jefferson start was really good.
Yeah,
I'm going to say that right now. I liked the start a lot.
Thank you.
Would you like to do a mock draft simulation here as we finalize this podcast?
Phil Mackey, there is nothing in this world that I want to do more.
I want a mock.
The magic word. All right, this mock draft simulation with our draft guru Thor Nystrom from Matthew Berry's Fantasy Life is presented to you all by the glorious, wonderful Butcher and the Boar in the North Loop area of Minneapolis.
Absolutely outstanding. So if you're going to a Wolves game, a Twins game, or perhaps just a night out on the town, Butcher and the Boar, as Phil just said, in the North Loop, absolutely fantastic. A gathering space for Southern style hospitality. If you've been there, you know what I'm talking about. We're talking about fantastic food, fantastic fun, great atmosphere, happy hour between 4 and 6 every day. And I've been telling you about this, the Judd special, the Sports Dad special. Thorsky, listen up. A beer brat and a shot for $15. We're talking about a huge handmade beer brat with sauerkraut and mustard, any draft beer, any rail shot. Absolutely. You know, if you're not feeling like the meal, which is great, but you're feeling like something, the Judd special is what you have to go to the Butcher and the Boar and ask for. They will deliver every single time.
Football.
Butcher and the Thor.
Wow.
Whoa.
Wow.
Whoa.
There it is right there.
Promo.
Butcher and the Thor.
You're back with a
man.
vengeance.
Let's rock and roll. All right, boys. So Thor nailed it. No longer in desperation mode for some of these positions of need. Like, yeah, could you use a younger, high upside defensive tackle? 100%. Could you still use maybe even a starting caliber guard, left guard? Yep. But you're no longer sitting here completely desperate, so you could go a number of different directions. I'm gonna just click start draft and let's see what happens. Let's get on the clock at 24, and then Thor, we can follow your guidance. All right?
Yeah, let's do it.
Here we go. We'll go turbo mode here. Let's turbo this. There we go. Okay. So, number 1 to the Titans, Cam Ward, and then Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter. PFF has been pretty low on Shadur Sanders relative to some of the other platforms, so he does continue to fall deep into the first round. He's still on the board. Omari and Hampton.
That's okay.
Omari and Hampton, running back, gone, and then our guy Ashton to the Jaguars at 5. Okay,
Keep him out of Chicago. Good. I like
Who'd
that.
Chicago take here. They took the safety from South Carolina,
Good.
Nick Manwery.
I'm fine with that.
So Vikings on the clock at 24, and we have 3 trade offers.
Just give me a quick scroll, and then we'll take a look at those offers. I just want to get an idea.
Sure.
We like Harmon.
Yeah.
We
Derek
like
Harmon
Nolan.
coming for a visit. Walter Nolan.
Loveland with the reunion with JJ from the 2023 champions. Gray Zabel, very attractive.
Yeah, there's some dudes on this board right now.
Yeah, we got some stuff to work with. So let's see the trade offer we get.
So the 3 offers are from the Bills at pick 30, which is that's a nice little drop back.
And they're an attractive trade team too, because they have 2 other picks in the top 62. They also have 109.
And then it's Dolphins at 48 and Panthers at 57. So it's pretty.
Let's engage with the Bills here.
So if we tried, we're swapping the 30 and the 24, and then could we ask for the 56? No, the 62. It's a 24% chance.
I don't.
Let me see.
The 109. What if it was the 62 and the 109 and we kicked in the 139? No, that's not going to be the same.
Let's see.
We could get the 109 and some other stuff for sure.
Yeah, let's give that a shot.
Or we might be able to get the rest of their draft here.
Phil, what if we did 97 and then we got 56?
So we go, so you're saying, let's see.
Because that one is fairly, it's within the line in my chart.
So we wouldn't pick up any extra picks, but we would.
Toss in 206, Phil. On their side. Yeah.
54% chance.
That's right.
Let's offer the trade and see. Oh, they've accepted it.
All right, let's do
yes. All right.
Good.
Okay.
So now we got, yeah.
We're back on the clock at 30. Your
I
guy,
like
the
this.
tight end from Michigan, Colston Loveland, just went. Tyler Booker, the guard from Alabama, is who the Bills were targeting.
But Harmon and Nolan are still there, and is Zabel as well. Oof, man. Is there a trade down? Is there a trade down just like two spots or 3?
Oh, the 30. Okay, the
do it.
Browns at 33.
Yeah.
So we would trade out of the first round here.
And then we don't have to pay our dude as much on the rookie scale either.
Wow. Okay, so 30, and then let's ask for the 94.
Yeah.
55% chance to be accepted. Should we offer it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was gonna say toss in 254 too, but I'm super Rick Spielman sometimes.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's ask him for the.
I got to do my Rick Spielman thing.
Yeah,
get those
thanks.
sevens.
They accepted it. Oh wow! Look at this, dude. Just rolling. All right, so we've now gone from 4 draft picks to 7 draft picks.
Like
we're going to be back
We're
on
back
the
to
clock
full
here.
allotment.
First pick in the second round.
Oh.
Who went? Walter Nolan went.
Yeah.
Shedeur Sanders went to the Browns at 30. But we're sitting here with the first pick in the second round.
Boys,
Derek Harmon and Gray Zabel are both available.
Embarrassment of riches. I'm going to toss it back to you. Both these guys would be fabulous picks. Gray Zabel would be your immediate starter at left guard. It would complete what has been this incredible transformation of the interior offensive line. Whereas Derek Harmon, extremely disruptive, can play up and down that 3-4 line. You have a guy that's backing up all three positions there. And Zabel can play all five positions. Both these guys. I
got a question.
What side do you want to go on the
I got a question for you.
Scrimmage, yeah.
On Zabel, because Brian O'Neill is not getting younger.
Yeah.
Could he? Does he project as my eventual right tackle?
Absolutely could. Yeah. And at minimum, you have break glass in case of emergency, the versatility to all the other positions right away. Yeah. Zabel was a dominant left tackle in the FCS level and also dominated at the Senior Bowl in Mobile a little over a month ago. I'm cool with Zabel. Yeah, and we bring him in from Fargo. Come on down, kid. 2-hour drive. Get down here, man.
Just
move on in.
Meat and potatoes, too.
Boy, we have a nasty offensive line now.
Gray Zabel is the pick here.
Left tackle to right tackle. And you have all the depth there as well, right? Like, man, we'd be looking good there.
So we're back on the clock here with the 56th overall pick, which is a place. This is a new territory here in these mock simulations for us. There is one trade offer just for fun. It's the Bills again at 62. The Bills.
It's Brandon Bean again. Hey guys, what's up?
But here's what the board looks like, Thor. There are a couple of interior defensive guys here: Shamar Turner and Alfred Collins from the Texas schools. I wouldn't rule running back out still. Aaron Jones is on the wrong side of 30. Jordan Mason should be around for a couple years.
Can we look at receivers as well?
Sure.
Are there any receivers of?
Oh man, it hurts to have to turn down Caleb here potentially, but
do you though? Do you have to turn him down?
Do you think they would take one in hypothetically here? They're going to take one.
You'd have to stash him.
Yeah, but Jordan Mason,
it is a bit superfluous, like in terms of that. It's the only thing with the equity. I like Benjamin Morrison here. PFF's going to ding our grade because they have him as a third rounder for some reason.
The cornerback from Notre Dame here.
Yeah.
Well, if you wanted to game the system here, you'd re-engage with Buffalo.
Let's
get your PFF grade up. So let's take the 109. Can we take the 97 back?
Yeah,
I wouldn't have it. Let's take the 109.
But Phil, take the 97 and then give them like 139. See if they'll do that.
But they're not going to trade back the 97th, would they? That's the pick we just traded yesterday.
I want my picks back.
Oh wait. Yeah. No. I'm with you.
The 109 and then the 177. All right. Okay. Let's see what that is. Oh, they rejected it.
All right.
Okay, let's take away the 177. Offer that one. They've accepted. That's more realistic. They're sick of getting fleeced by us.
That's fine.
Okay, so we're back to the draft here. This will give you the Benjamin Morrison pick. He's still on the board here, and Caleb just went. So there you go. Yep. Benjamin Morrison with the 67th pick makes it more palatable.
I love that. All
right, we're back on the clock now with the 94. I'm gonna put. We'll just keep the full board up here.
I like Royals. I'll just tell you the guys we go through. I like Royals.
Receiver, Utah State.
Yeah. He was a late bloomer, but requisite athleticism and frame, really, really good. And he, even though he wasn't 100% in Mobile, he was difficult for people to cover in those one-on-ones. I think I comp him to Jaden Reed.
Okay.
And then the Arizona kid, I'm bad with his last name, but since we already took Zabel, we can't take him. But otherwise, he would have been of interest here. Savion Williams is the TCU receiver I was mentioning before. He's essentially Cordero Patterson incarnate. It's literally it's like the pointing Spider-Man gif.
I mean, I'm okay with if you're a Jalen Royals guy here, wide receiver, Utah State, and we got 5 picks left. Let's do it.
I'm down.
All right, Judd. There's your third round wide receiver right there from Utah State.
I like it.
Putting us back on the clock. If this wheel stops spinning, there we go. With the 109th pick. By the way, this Vernon Broughton keeps falling. Interior defensive lineman from Texas. By 30 places, the best player on the board here, Thor.
Yeah, and that's a potential that we could go. I have him as I might be a tick low. I have him as IDL 21 right now in like my early rankings, but he was really good last year playing next to Alfred Collins, who is a guy I've been taking in some of these mocks when I wind up with that later second round pick. But Broughton, 86.1 PFF grade last year, and he can get after the quarterback a little bit. He's not as he has the rangy build, at the 6'5" that Collins does. Doesn't have quite the girth that he does, but yeah, it's a guy that would be a fit for a 3-4. I'm not against Broughton at all.
All right. I mean, let's get
PFF's going to love this.
PFF's going to really love this.
PFF grade just got jacked.
Done.
All right. Now we're on the clock. First round, the first pick in the 5th round here, the 139. This is maybe running back territory a little bit here.
Is this a running back?
I really like Martinez.
Damian Martinez from Miami.
And Martinez is Okay, Martinez by far the best running back. Let's pop him here.
All right, just to pop this up for the audience. Damian Martinez, 6 feet, 232 bowling ball.
And look at those PFF grades, Phil. This is a guy who was fabulous the last 3 years running. The first 2 years of those was at Oregon State when it was more your traditional sort of downhill NFL style running concepts. Last year he goes to Miami and it was the air raid, and he was facing some of the thinner boxes. It was fabulous against both. He's a big physical back with really good feet.
All right, love this dude. All right, so we're back on. We got 3 picks left here. We are in the 6th round, and it's kind of I would say just kind of best player available. There's no specific needs here that you got to touch on, but I guess a third tight end of interest would be nice. I wouldn't be opposed to a quarterback, boys. Throwing another young quarterback into QB rehab school.
I'm waiting on Thor. I trust him here.
Is this your Max Brosmer?
Brosmer?
You pop Max Brosmer here?
I think
not
he might
Brosmer.
not be drafted.
Okay.
I think you might be able to sign him immediately after the draft.
Okay, yeah. Who is it? I might go with Jalen Conyers here. Conyers is a guy we haven't talked about yet, but
tight end.
I do think the Vikings are going to draft a tight end at some point during the draft. And Conyers is sort of interesting. He flies a little bit under the radar. He was a part of the start of the Herm Edwards Arizona State team. He was a part of like all those the talent that they had. It's Jaden Daniels, Rashad White at the end, but Ricky Pearsall, all the different guys that they had there. Conyers is there, and then he goes to Texas Tech, 6'3.5", 260 pounds, 92nd percentile size adjusted athlete, and he can catch. And not only that, so he's a little bit. You'd say he's on the shorter side. It's at 6'3.5" for this tight end class. He's one of those deceiving dudes though, where he has the really long arms. It's sort of the compact frame, but it gives you an analogous catch radius to guys that are taller. And I'll give you an example of this. Tyler Warren is the big Colossus tight end. Everybody knows that. Tyler Warren is 6'5.5", 256. Tyler Warren, his wingspan 76 and 4/8, so 76.5. Conyers 80 and 7/8. It's football. It's a big catch radius there. So, and again, a guy who's a really good receiver. I would take Conyers, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So he's a Viking, and the PFF loves his run blocking ability too, which you're going to need in this system. We're back up, 2 more picks left. The 206 here. We are back on the clock. Let me just pop this.
Okay, positions we need would be.
I could maybe see a safety,
linebacker potentially,
and maybe a linebacker. Yeah, here's some dudes. Your guy Jay Higgins from Iowa.
Jay Higgins is a hell of a player, but he's not very athletic. It's the translation to the NFL is the only thing where we'll see if he has enough. Ricky White would be interesting here. We have already taken the receiver, so we might not have a spot for it. But I found it interesting that the Vikings have signed either 2 or 3 sort of special teams aces under the radar. You had Tim Jones. You had Tier Thomas. Yes. They've signed a couple of those dudes. Ricky White is a fabulous special teams player. He blocks kicks. He's on the coverage units.
And when in doubt, draft a player that sounds like the position he plays. Ricky White is born to play wide receiver in the National Football League, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, this would be a special teams thing, and then the end of the depth chart receiver. I liked his receiving work. He just runs a 4.6, so that's the thing. But he's
special teams, man.
The special teams, he's going to help you there.
I'm going to show you the safeties and linebackers here to see if you like any of them for our final pick, the 254. and then we'll see what PFF gives us for. We're still striving for that first A or A+. We'll see if today's the day.
Do they give out A+?
Oh, yeah. I've seen it. I've seen it in the woods before.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think I want to go with Teddy here.
Teddy Buchanan linebacker from Cal.
Yeah, Teddy Buchanan, a hair over 6'2", 233, 96 percentile size-adjusted athlete, and he was tremendous the last 3 years. Kid had a 40-inch vertical jump, 10.5 broad, was on the high end, 26 bench reps, was near the top of the position group as well. Ran the 4.6 flat, which is above average for it. And again, you just look at the production last 3 years. That's a good depth guy.
There we go.
They could develop, and just started later on.
So I think we doubled our draft pick allocation there. We hit a bunch of key positions. I'm going to scroll down. Here's the grades.
The grade is coming.
Okay, it's a B on Gray Zabel.
Second round.
B. Oh no,
D minus. Hold on, D minus.
It's a B.
They hate Vernon.
Why do they hate that? Because it's not a position of need anymore. They hammered us for this.
I don't understand their grading.
You got to get on them, Thor.
Yeah, I don't understand it at all.
Martinez,
they don't like Ricky White. They really don't like Jalen Connors. Look at that.
I'm gonna have to make a call.
I think that is the first D that we've gotten since we started this.
It's ridiculous.
Someday, boys. We got a few weeks left to keep
You know
honing
what?
our process.
That feels like we studied and studied and studied, and we took the test and we're like, oh boy, okay, I just can't. I did really well. And you go get the grade, and it's a very average or below grade.
Story of my academic life.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But the instructors need to know what the answers to the tests are for the grading to be accurate. You know?
Well, so you're challenging. I like that.
We will send a strongly written letter to Pro Football Focus here. But Thor, great stuff as always. Football. As we count down the days until the 2025 NFL Draft and the Purple Daily Draft Party.
We're only a month away.
/draft. Yeah, this is it's a fun time of year to be a football fan here and a Vikings fan. What they've done just in the last week and a half. So find Thor on X/Twitter. At Thor KU, and also his work at Matthew Berry's FantasyLife.com. We'll do it again next Thursday, sir. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die around here.